Hello. Good afternoon. Please sit. So, wrote something? Found it easy or difficult? Writing is easy or difficult? Easy? Tell me the difficulties. One philosopher, of course, it will be repetitive and same. No problem. That's not a problem. Even if the same question is repeated, you will have to write it again. It's fine. They will be evaluated separately. How Descartes has proved the existence of God? Is it a difficult question? Then, how to go about it, how to write? Okay, na? No, proof, of course. You will find the full proofs or detailed proofs there, but we have still understood what are the various ways in which he has proved God. Okay. What else? Any other problem you faced while writing? Yes. Yes, you have to mention, but will you mention it completely in full detail? No. You will just restrict it. So this is the question about dualism. How will you start? Tell me, how will you start? What should be the introduction? What can be the introduction? Descartes was a mathematician. Wanted certainty in philosophy, just as Max, therefore, gave his method of doubt. But still, can you feel that duality or dualism has not been addressed in the introduction? Even though it is an introduction of Descartes, it is not wrong. It is not wrong. You can write such an introduction, but can we write some introduction which hints to the examiner that we have understood the question itself properly and we know the answer? Yes. One way to write it. Again, it is not very exact to the answer or the question. Isn't it sounding like a conclusion? That dualism has been resolved by Descartes by introducing the theory of interactionism. It feels more like something which should come at the end, not at the start. This is body. Definitely, whatever you are saying is correct, but it has to come in body. Ma'am, I am having problem in conclusion of the answer. Of course, that is why we are trying to resolve this problem. While I think, therefore I am, is Descartes' clear and distinct idea. He also propounded body-mind dualism. Intro. It's not a bad introduction, but yet it feels that you are not explaining, you are telling. You are directly saying, I think, therefore I am. But we have to reach to an answer by developing it, isn't it? A little, it can be improved. How much time for 15 markers? How much time for 15 markers in the sense time wise? Do the maths. How much it is? Explain dualism as well as monism. No, this dualism, monism, I told you now, you don't have to write until and unless specifically asked. This is not, you have to put in, because this is deep philosophy and this is not required until and unless UPSC itself wants to talk about it. Okay. Any other introduction? Yes. Okay, okay. Yes, yes. Acha, tell me, can you directly start with the understanding of the concept of dualism? Dualism is a philosophy according to which there are two fundamental substances of the universe. Shouldn't first you tell you about dualism? The question is about dualism. Shouldn't you start with it? है ना? And in Descartes' philosophy, he was a dualist as he accepted two independent substances of body and mind, which he tried to reconcile with the concept of God. Khatam. 4 लाइनें Khatam. But if you read such an introduction, can you, like, do you feel that we have told the examiner that we know the answer? Do you feel? We know the answer and we will be, just read my answer. Examiner is not interested in reading your answer until and unless you make them read your answer. You have to create an interest in your copy. How many copies they have to check? Hundreds, and so many copies they have to check. And same question, same answers, same content. How boring can it be? Anybody who has checked copies here? No? You've done that? How boring it is? It's really boring. Really. And for that, when the student is not in front of them, they can't see the student, they just can see the copies. And each copy is just about the same question and nearly the same content. So you will have to make them read your answer. They will not read it. They will just see and give average marks. Or they will just, see 2 or 3 questions and they will be like, हाँ ठीक है. Of course, they will read it in the sense कि एक बार नजर मारेंगे, but they will not read it in. To make them read it in detail, what you have to do? Interest. And most interesting way of making interest of an examiner is tell them that you can address the question in the best format. So the moment you write such a good introduction, you feel like the examiner knows, he knows or she knows the content and good answer. They will give you exceptionally good marks if you can hook onto their interest or attention. Just as when you watch a video or a movie, if the initial few minutes, 5, 10 minutes, 15 minutes are not interesting, do you watch the complete movie? Or do you just stop and move ahead? You just stop and switch over to the next movie or next video. This is how it works. This is the same for the answer. You will have to make your answer relevant and interesting. And this is the quality of an introduction. Can we write similar intro for the same philosopher? Is it the same? Can you write the same introduction for each philosopher, any one philosopher? No. It will depend according to the question. So the question was of dualism. Therefore, we created a specific intro for this question. In this also, you will again have to start with this, something related to Descartes only. Leibniz तो लिख नहीं दोगे, Plato तो लिख नहीं दोगे, है ना? You will have to start with something related to Descartes. But now, how you can start here? Maybe the introduction you were telling me earlier, है ना? That seems relevant here. That the method adopted by the Descartes was Cartesian method, through which he wanted to make philosophy as certain as maths is. Isn't it? It is appearing to be more relevant here. Okay. How Descartes has proved the existence of God. What kind of introduction can you write? Hmm. Anything else? Did he actually question the existence of God? Acha, tell me, can we write that Descartes believed in the concept of innate ideas as well as his theory of dualism required him to introduce the concept of God as the ultimate reality. Does it sound good? What is the difference between the earlier introductions and this introduction? It is according to the question and to the point. You directly deliver the information which has been asked. We don't go about round and round. People don't like, specifically, generally smart people don't like people who go round and round. And we feel that examiners are really smart. Yeah? So if supposedly you ask me कि मैम कल क्लास होगी नहीं होगी तो मैं आपको राउंड एंड राउंड बोलूँ हो भी सकती है अगर बारिश हुई तो देखेंगे अगर ये हुआ तो ये लेके बस ये बता दो कल होगी या नहीं होगी सीधा सीधा बता दो isn't it people want direct straightforward answers but if I tell you the same answer to this question in what 5 minutes 6 minutes you will feel like रहने दो यार isn't it and similar is the case with examiner if in introduction or few lines of your answer you have not dealt with the question you have not hit directly to the core of the question examiner feels आता जाता है कुछ नहीं इंग्लिश लिख दी है ना that student has just written English and they are not knowing it precisely because anybody who has taken philosophy as an optional won't they be able to write something or the other about Descartes and all the questions are nearly the similar one है ना and you have to write nearly the same content so what difference can you make how can an examiner judge that out of 10 if he has or she has to give you 2 or 8 आते हैं 2 भी आते हैं और 0.5 भी आते हैं बहुत बड़ी वैरायटी है so how that people who have completed who knew Descartes who have read Descartes or any other philosopher and when they go and write their answer they get marks in this range they have also completed the paper and there are people who get marks in this range and become the toppers what is the difference preciseness and the way one delivers the information so I always give this example have you gone to a dhaba have you gone to a dhaba what is the cost of dal there dal 80 rupees 80 to 100 chalo 80 to 100 rupees per plate have you gone to a okay restaurants like any pind baluchi type no नहीं जो भी है मतलब what is the cost of dal there हाँ गए नहीं हो तुम and have you gone to fine dining restaurants what is the cost 800 rupees. Is the dal different? Same. Taste wise, yes. So dal same, masala same, pani same, same होता है. नमक मिर्च हल्दी same. What is difference then? Presentation, है ना? So in dhaba they will put a steel bowl, fill it and just give it. Okay. In restaurant they will put a porcelain or maybe what do you say, melamine bowl, and they will give you with the serving spoon properly in a tray. They will give you, and the quantity of dal will also reduce. And when you go to fine dining, quantity will further reduce, and then they will, bring a nice tray, put dal in a very beautiful glass bowl, and then they will put a cream and sprinkle a coriander and seasoned onions or whatever and whatnot. So they have reduced the quantity using the same ingredient, and still the cost is how many times? 10 times. Can you understand? So if you will write dhaba like answers, you will get same content, same notes, no difference, same teacher, same content, same notes, same books. Dhaba like answer, dhaba like marks. Fine dining answer, dining marks. Simple. If you write Descartes in an umble-jumbled manner means he said this also, then he thought about substance also, he said I think therefore I am also, he proved God also, therefore interactionism also, and at the end ma'am told us to write Spinoza in the conclusion, Spinoza also. And then you say, Marx, it's not about just the content, it is also about the preciseness to the point about the question. And in philosophy it is absolutely easy. You know why? Tell me, why is it very easy to do this in philosophy if you really want to do it? Content is fixed. Content is fixed, and the type of questions that are asked are nearly fixed. Content you don't have to innovate, reinvent each time. If you learn the content, if you know the content, you just have to remodule it. You just have to modify it according to the demand of the question. So if demand of the question is essay, if demand of the question is just put it like this, just umble and jumble, just reorient it according to the demand of the question. Fine? Can you understand? Slowly and steadily we are learning how to write a good answer. Okay. So introduction, have you understood how we can go precise about it? Yes. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Descartes, the father of rationalism, wanted to bring certainty in philosophy just as in maths. For this, he adopted philosophical method known as Cartesian method. Khatam. Introduction, 3 lines. Then start with body. Simple. Cartesian method. Is it a question on rationalism? It is a question on method. Right, just mention it. As a rationalist, Descartes believed that valid source of knowledge is reason, and experience plays a very limited role. As a believer of innate knowledge, Descartes started to reason so that he could reach a self-evident axiom, which is certain. For this, he adopted Cartesian method. 3 lines. फिर हम आ गए Cartesian method पे. देव दिया. We have given the background of rationalism also. Fine. And after that, you tell about all the 4 rules in detail. Then how he went to doubt. Then from doubt, how he proved, I think therefore I am. Then I think therefore I am soul. And after that, God. Then external world. With external world, body. Right? In body, you also write his other dictum. Fine. This is the method he adopted. But is the method perfect? No. Then criticism. What is wrong with the method? Contradicted the definition of substance. When he accepted body and mind as relative substance, substance तो बताना ही पड़ेगा ना अंत में. Okay. Then he started the problem of dualism, which will continue. अभी हम करेंगे criticisms तो समझ में आएंगे आपको. Which will continue for long period of time. And to solve his dualism, which he could not solve properly, he gave the theory of interactionism, which again he could not properly explain. On one side, he says that it is a physiological explanation, that there is a pineal gland. But does soul need pineal gland? It doesn't have extension, it doesn't require pineal gland. All of the criticisms then you can write. And how will you conclude? How will you conclude? Again, your conclusion should be linked to the topic, philosophical method. Like example, give me some example. Okay. Anything else? His Cartesian, his adopt. अब खैर अभी आप लोगों ने स्पाइनोजा लेबनीज पढ़ा नहीं है तो आप ये वाला इंट्रोडक्शन कंक्लूजन लिख नहीं सकते, लेकिन वैसे इसका कंक्लूजन आना चाहिए that the method Descartes has adopted by getting influenced with maths. Similar method was adopted by later on by Spinoza and Leibniz and other mathematicians also. So this will be the type of conclusion we can write. Fine. और कोई प्रॉब्लम लिखने में? People do that, and a lot of students do that, but I generally recommend that we can do this for very few subject or topics. Rather, you should develop that skill. थोड़ा टाइम ज़्यादा लगेगा है ना, you might take a little more time, but you will develop that skill whereby you will read the question and automatically in your mind the introduction will form, and as immediately in the customization of that question. Right now it might be feeling कि कैसे होगा है ना, अचानक से कैसे आ जाएगा दिमाग में ना, how will the introduction come directly into my mind? It will come. And the main thing how it will come is when you keep writing. The more you write, more that skill develops. That is why we are emphasizing on writing. We are writing nearly each class. This is why, if you keep on writing, starting will be very sad and bad. And each with writing of your each answer, you will feel what am I doing? I should have revised last night. I should have revised last class. At least in the morning I should have revised. I know Tanu ma'am, she will take a test. So let me see a copy for once. So all these ideas will come into your mind. And you will feel the people next to you are writing better answers. You will feel that insecurity and competition. You will start hating the class topper. So whoever is writing good answers, you will start hating that person. It will happen. It's natural. But after this process is over in the sense, after you have written 50, 60, 100 questions and answers, there will come a time where this will become very natural. You will see a question and automatically you will have an introduction with you. And you will feel like, पता नहीं कहाँ से आया है? If somebody asks, okay, कैसे लिखा तूने ये introduction? So you will be like, I don't know यार, ये अपने आप से आया है ना, अपने आप से दिमाग में आ गया. It's naturally भगवान की कृपा. But actually yes, भगवान की कृपा is okay. But this भगवान की कृपा needs practice. हाँ, फिर other person will say, he knows, she knows the trick, but they are not telling. They are not telling me. They will not realize that actually it cannot be. Can I tell you how I made this introduction that I just told you? Even if you ask me to again form an introduction, I will form another introduction. I cannot form the same introduction. I cannot, and neither you will be able to, because after practice, your mind will generate a very unique introduction according to the requirement of. So just trust the process and keep writing. Keep just writing without feeling bad, feeling insecure. And the competition is not with this closed group. Is it? No. Try to help each other. Form groups. Form groups means not friendly groups of chai, pani, masti, huh? Form answer writing groups. Answer writing groups in the sense, 5 people who feel like, or 4 people, 3 people who feel like, not more than 5. Who feel like, let us sit and practice questions. Sit and write whenever possible. Or exchange your answers. Just see the answers of others and try to check it with critical eye. Person who is most ruthless during your preparation is the best well-wisher. And people who give you fake confidence on anything or type of, anything, they give you just material, not useful. Because is it a material thing? Material to bhara pada hai market mein. It's not material. It is what you produce on that day on copy. Nobody will ask you how much material you have in your almirah. It will be how much have you written in your copy. This means that whatever you are reading, whatever in your notes, you should be. Should the content be in your notes or should it be in your mind? As simple as that. If it is not in the mind, you are not going to get marks out of it. Okay? Any other problem in writing? Yes? No, no, never. These are very technical terms, absolute and all these terms. You should never use it. Anything else? Handwriting. How many of you have bad handwriting? तुम करोगे नाम खराब. चलो फिर बैठते हैं. So handwriting. So people who write like this, Not going to work because it is difficult to read. How will they correct it? Tilt your copy. Practice tilting your copy till the time it comes like this. This is one solution. People who write too small, they will of course have to write big. It should be, people who check your copies are old and they sometimes forget their glasses also. Even if they have the glasses, it will be very strenuous to read small fonts. Right? Write a good font. If you write really big, what problem will you have? You will not have enough space to put in all the content. The size of your handwriting should be optimal, neither too large, neither too small. Okay. People who merge their words or letters. There are people who merge their letters and write like this. They should try to write independent letters. In starting, it will be a problem, but soon they will be able to write separate letters. At least understanding will improve of the examiner ke likha kya hai. Then increase the space between words. This creates a fake perception even that handwriting is still readable, even though it is not. This is another. Any other problem in handwriting? Speed. Practice. How many of you have bought the timer? Timer? Separate timer, not in your watches or your phone. Bought it? Very necessary. Buy a timer, 200 rupees from Amazon, I think. I don't know how much it is. We'll just go and check. But when I bought it long back, it was some 340 rupees. है ना? और वो ऐसा टाइमर होता है, ऐसे ऐसे हाथ में पकड़ लिया and you open it, close it, ऐसे, है ना? With your 2 fingers you can operate it. So how will you write your answers? You keep it in your, if you are right-hander, you keep it and then you write it open, write and then stop after 7 minutes. So wherever you are, you stop. 20 questions you will not be able to complete. After that, if you are a, what do you say, conscientious human being, you will burn in guilt and you will correct yourself. This is how it happens. Guilt is very important. Until unless you have that guilt, until unless you have that anxiety, you won't be able to complete it. So slowly it will come. First you increase your speed and writing will improve afterwards. Don't worry. Anything else? Any doubt? Online student? मैम जल्दी जल्दी में आधे अल्फाबेट्स की जगह लाइन ही लग जाती है. Adopt this. Separate letters. You will not be able to do it. Ma'am, English weak hai. If you have weak English, then you will have to definitely work harder. है ना? I know a lot of people who were not good in English, but they were very good in ratta. Either be good in English or either be good in ratta. Ratta means rote learning. Now rote learning also requires a kind of a mental application. So even if you have learned about Descartes, you still have to modulate it according to the demand of the question. And if you can do it, it's fine. If you can copy the English of notes into your answers, it's fine. Ma'am, can you please tell how many time spent for 10-15 marks? 7 minutes for 10 marker and around like 10.5 minutes for 15 marker. Ma'am, lacking points of exclusively dualism in first answer and getting mixed with the points of interaction. Of course, you are reading all these concepts for the first, second or maybe third time. Of course, things will mix up. But once things concretize, this will not happen. And this is why revisions are required. Else philosophy बहुत मुश्किल है क्या? इतने से तो notes हैं, उन्हीं को तो पढ़ना है, isn't it? So if it is, it's like कि अगर एक ही बार में पढ़ के याद हो गया, if you can learn the notes just by reading once, you will be topper anyway. But revisions are required only for that remembrance. Okay. Anything else? Explain theory of substance or relative or absolute substance. Are you telling about the introduction or what? Okay, fine. So let us complete Descartes. Okay. What was the last thing that we have written? Completed. 4 points. Descartes' method is both, next heading, Descartes' method is both inductive and deductive. Descartes' method is both inductive and deductive. Descartes, being a mathematician, has always regarded maths. Descartes, being a mathematician, has always regarded maths and its deductive method, to be superior knowledge. Therefore, he applied this deductive method to philosophy. Full stop. Next point. Till the time Descartes reaches his axiom, in bracket write certain truth, bracket close. His method is inductive. His method is an inductive process. Because he has established cogito ergo sum intuitively. Full stop. That is a clear and distinct perception. Full stop. This knowledge is not deduction. But based on induction. This knowledge is not based on deduction, but based on induction. Not based on deduction, but based on induction. However, after reaching the axiom, Descartes unilaterally proceeds from, after reaching the axiom, Descartes unilaterally proceeds from one established fact proceeds from one established point to the next. One established point to the next, and so on. Full stop. And so on, full stop. In his words, inverted commas, passing little by little, passing little by little from one to the other, passing little by little from one to the other, we acquire in the time perfect knowledge, we acquire in the time perfect knowledge of the whole philosophy. Of the whole philosophy. Inverted commas close. आगे लिखने से पहले let us understand this. So we have seen that he was influenced by maths, and maths is based on deductive method, and these deductions are made from axioms are certain and necessary distinct knowledge. Anything which is certain, distinct will be known as axiom. Fine? Okay. So, and this axiom, the deductions are made from the axioms. Deductions are made from the axiom. So, till he reaches his axiom, will he use his deductive method? No, he cannot use it, because deductions can only be made from something which is certain and which is definitely known. Until and unless he reaches his axiom or theorem, he cannot make any deductions. So till the time he has reached, I think, therefore I am, he has not made any deductions. After this, he will make deductions. Before this, whatever process he has adopted is induction. Now you will say, ma'am, but therefore, these are linguistic expressions. Ultimately, he is just experiencing it. What? That when he doubts, he is still left with a thing of experience, experiencing of doubt. Further, the Shankaracharya's argument also, when we see, and the same argument has been given by Descartes, that even if you deny yourself, you must exist to deny yourself. So denial of your own self is a contradiction. It cannot be accepted. Therefore, whatever he has done before reaching here is induction or inductive knowledge. And how do you know this? I think, therefore I am. Intuitively. The intuition, the definition of intuition is clear. Yesterday we have discussed that something, when contradicted, becomes unreasonable, or something which, when the denial of something is contradictory in itself. That's intuition. So denial of your own self is contradictory. That is why we know this intuitively. Do you experience yourself like you experience table? You experience yourself intuitively. How do you experience this? So let us go a little deeper, so that you have the real understanding of it. So how are you perceiving this table? By senses. Senses of touch, sight. Two senses you are able to look. Can you touch yourself or soul? Taste, smell, hear, see. So can you just perceive your own soul like you perceive the table? No. This table is known through perception. Perception means sense organ, use of sense organs. But your own self is known through intuition. Intuitively you know. Intuitively it is known. Self cannot be known like other objects. Of course, Kant will make the same criticism. Clear? Okay. Continue. If you want, you can just read this full paragraph and tell me if something is not understandable. Here he gives a very good line that passing little by little from one to another, we acquire the perfect knowledge of the whole philosophy. What does it mean? After we start making deductions, we can make deductions till any level, and from this deductions we can lead to all the philosophy itself, knowledge of all the philosophy. Through these deductions only he proved self, God, external world, all of these things he explained through deduction. So according to him, if we can make the right deductions, we can actually know the whole philosophy. Do we need experience for that? No, we just need reason. Again, the proof of rationalism. Clear? Oh, बच्चे आधे वहीं पे अटके हुए हैं. Ma'am, should we make our own notes? Yes, you should. But don't make it in first reading or second reading. Make it after 3 readings. Would it be possible for you to provide us with topic-wise PYQs? Yes. Isn't it uploaded? Actually, we are changing the LMS. This learning management system we are changing. So soon you will have an app also where you can watch the lectures properly and find the notes directly in the app. It will become a little easy for you people, especially the online ones. And there you will find it. So we will give you topic-wise PYQs. Don't worry. Word limit. Do we have to count? How many of you count your words? No, you don't have to count. Just see how many words you take, or at what length generally you finish your word limit. 1, 2, 3, 4 questions, and you should be able to gauge how much space you require. So don't count each time. You will lose a lot of time. And how do you count one by one? No. एक line में how many words? Then you count the number of lines, multiplication. Plus minus 25 is okay. So 150 means 125 to 175 is okay. 15 marker में. भर दो. अगर word firstly, if you are actually writing to the point, you don't require 3 sheets. Or even if you write 3 sheets, your handwriting must be big. So why are 3 sheets given? Not to just fill in. छोटी handwriting है, कैसे भरोगे? If your handwriting is really small, how will you fill the 3 sheets? You will not be able to. You need to have a optimally good handwriting size to fill those sheets first. Secondly, you have to manage your time also and the content also. So there are people who just arrive out of graduation, and according to them, the best way of answer writing is filling the sheets. Maximum sheets filled means good paper done. And these people fail miserably in UPSC. Why? Because it's not about filling the paper. Of course, it's not about filling the paper. You just cannot fill the paper and say, I've done a good paper. So it's fine. It's one of the added advantage. If you can fill the sheets, this means your handwriting is this much, which can, because definitely examiner is also human being. They are also professors of different institutions. And they also feel that, person has written too much. If supposedly you end your answer after 1 sheet and so 2 sheets empty, and they feel like लिखा ही नहीं कुछ, है ना, natural. So of course fill as much as you can, but you cannot compromise on quality, the to the pointness, the preciseness of your content. You cannot compromise on that. We can try, but that's not a necessity. It will depend how much content you are able to write. And increase your speeds. That is non-negotiable. People who cannot write fast. Actually, I'll tell you, this is very much linked to the work you will have to do. And if the moment you are posted to a government department, you will have to read and sign 80 to 100 and sometimes 150 files a day. And that too, when people come and meet you all the time. You have to keep talking to the people, meeting people, take meetings, have team meetings, etc., etc., attend phone calls. But you have to finish your files, right? If you are not able to read fast, if you are not able to write fast, you will say कि आज तो 10 ही फाइल हुई, वो इकट्ठी हो जाएंगी. The rest of the files will be piling up. Next day, still piling up. Third day, and matters will linger on till months, years, until unless something really urgent will happen, you will not be able to see files, right? And who will find the file out of those pile of files? So there is no excuse for that. So you have to read fast and you have to write fast, because you cannot devote whole day writing in 1 or 2 notings. So in starting, when you go to office, there are certain times when you feel like, oh, अच्छा, इसलिए answer writing कराई थी. Yes, you will feel many times that, oh yes, I can write this noting so well because I have practiced my answer writing. You will feel many times. If you go to services, this thought will come to you more than 10 times. As you will write reports, as you will write notings, as you will write instructions and directives, whatever you will write, I always had that feeling, specifically. Okay? So speed बढ़ानी है, speed non-negotiable, quality non-negotiable. Okay. Continue. Next paragraph कर लो चाहो. According to Descartes, first task of philosophy is analytical. First task of philosophy is analytical, and second is synthetic. Full stop. That is reaching towards a certain point by induction. And deducting the other facts, and deducting or deducing, whatever you want to write, deducing the other facts after that. Therefore, Descartes' method is both inductive deductive. Descartes' method is both inductive deductive and analytic synthetic. Analytic synthetic, we will do it in detail many times, so don't worry, it will get understandable. Third, next heading, 3 major assumptions of Descartes. 3 major assumptions of Descartes. three major assumptions of Descartes. First, there is some knowledge about this world. There is some knowledge about this world which is certain. Whatever is clear and distinct, whatever is clear and distinct, second point, whatever is clear and distinct as an idea is true. Whatever is clear and distinct as an idea is true. Third, deductive knowledge can have same certainty as intuition. Deductive knowledge can have same certainty as intuition. What are the three assumptions? Until and unless he makes these three assumptions, can he give his theory? Isn't it a criticism also? Isn't it a criticism also? He says that he wants to be presuppositionless. One of the another statement of Descartes is that he wants to be presuppositionless. He doesn't want to suppose that maths is certain. He doesn't want to suppose that science is certain. He doesn't want to presuppose that there is a God. That is why he is doubting all of these things. He wants to be without any suppositions. Yet he is making these three assumptions or suppositions. What is the first one? There is a knowledge of this world which is certain. That is why he is making all of this theory up. He has assumed that there is definitely knowledge about this world which is certain. That is why he is trying to find that certain knowledge. First assumption he has already made before giving theory. Second, he himself assumed that if an idea is clear and distinct, it means it is true. When people will criticize, they will tell him that I have a very clear and distinct idea of $100 bill in my pocket. Does it make it true? आ जाएंगे क्या जेब में? अगर मेरे दिमाग में बड़ा clear and distinct idea है that this table is made up of gold. Gold की हो जाएगी क्या? So does clearness and distinctness of any idea make that idea true? No. But he has already assumed it. That is why first he says that because there is soul, my soul has a clear and distinct idea of God, perfect. All of these ideas are true because they are clear and distinct. He also has the idea of other things and body, and these ideas are also true because they are clear and distinct. Secondly, they must have been put up by the God, and God is not a. He already assumed that anything which is clear and distinct is true. Third, deductive knowledge can have the same certainty as intuitive knowledge. He himself told that I have intuitively got to know that I think, therefore I am. This is the knowledge known through intuition. Fine, this intuitive knowledge is definitely true. But how does he and why does he assume that whatever deductions he is making will be as true as this? Isn't he has done an assumption that out of this, whatever I will deduce, they will also be as certain and as true as this statement is. This is also he has assumed. If he do not make these three assumptions, he cannot actually give his philosophy. And this three assumptions we can use in our criticisms. Fine? Okay. Next, deductions from deductions from cogito ergo sum. Deductions from cogito ergo sum. From his epistemology, Descartes tries to explain his metaphysics. From his epistemology, Descartes tries to explain his metaphysics. Full stop. Through his cogito ergo sum, and innate ideas, Descartes deduces number one, there is a distinct substance, soul. Second, God exists. And he will give proofs for that. Third, through a clear and distinct idea, planted by God, some party is going on. अच्छा, सावन वाला वो कावड़. Oh, so much traffic. Yesterday we reached home at 11 p.m. Yes. All the roads were blocked. 11 p.m. Yes, all the roads were blocked. 9 o'clock. 45 minutes. Huh? हाँ कोई बात नहीं चलो. बट यस आई थिंक 14th को है ना शिवरात्रि. टुमारो नहीं पता. अरे सब एथीस्टी आ गए हैं क्या है. कल है ना. अच्छा, हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू आर एथीस्ट. हाँ, ये कौन सा एथीस्ट होता है. पूरा होता है या तो आधा आधा थोड़ा ना होता है एथीस्ट. हाँ, हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू आर एथीस्ट. few. How many of you are theist? Okay. And agnostic? Agnostic, two. Okay. Remember this ratio. Okay, fine. So God exists, and for which he has given proofs. Third, through a clear and distinct idea. ये हो गया क्या? अच्छा, through clear and distinct idea planted by God in the mind. Through clear and distinct idea planted by God in the mind, he proves the existence of external world. He proves the existence of external world. Fourth, through his dictum, I know I am. Through his dictum मतलब कहावत, not axiom. कहावत, dictum, जो उसने important बात कही या उसने जो law दे दिया है ना, something of very important relevance told by a philosopher is known as dictum. Through his dictum, inverted commas you may write, I know I am, but I know I am, but I know I am, but I do not know what I am or that I am. I do not know that I am. Inverted commas close. He classifies mind and body. He classifies mind and body. Full stop. He names these as relative substances. He names these as relative substances which interact through pineal gland. Which interact through pineal gland. Right. Criticism. Let us write criticism. We will write one and discuss each of them separately. First, epistemological difficulty. First, epistemological difficulty. Kant has criticized Descartes that self cannot be both knower and known. Criticized that self cannot be both knower and known. Full stop. Here, Descartes is trying to know. Descartes is trying to know knower as known. Here, Descartes is trying to know knower as known. Full stop. Isn't it? नहीं समझ में आया? थोड़ा complex. Known is table, knower is you. These two have to be separate. If you can know table because it is known and you are the knower. Can the self be both knower and known? जो जान रहा है वो भी और जो जिसको जाना जा रहा है वो भी. They cannot, according to Kant, they cannot merge. So it is like there has to be something separate to know. There must be something separate to know. Other way of understanding it is that known or whatever is outside is known through sense perception, while self can only be known through intuitive knowledge. Now Kant is not able to बुराई कर रहा है Kant, लेकिन उसने ये नहीं देखा कि उसने उसको already intuitive knowledge बोला है. Criticism भी हो गया, लेकिन defense भी पता है हमें. Understood? Kant is criticizing. So Descartes said that I think, therefore I am. He proved the self. Now Kant is saying that how can you know self? It is not something external to you. It cannot be known. Just like you can know a table, it cannot be known. You cannot merge knower and known. Both cannot be merged into a same entity. There has to be, to have any knowledge, these two must be separate. Valid? But Descartes has already told that he is not trying to know self like a table. He is not saying that I can see my soul, or I can touch my soul, or I can hear my soul. Is he saying so? No. He is just proving it on the basis of intuition. So defense is also ready. Of course, we will criticize the philosopher, then we will criticize the criticism as the defense of philosopher, as the defense of Descartes. Oh yes, even if it has some lacuna, it holds the philosophical value. And doesn't it feel very right? That of course knower and known cannot be merged. अब ऐसे समझो, if you ask, who is asking? हाँ? उसने तो कहा ही है. So Kant has criticized, we have to write. If somehow, someday a question comes, do you think that Descartes' criticism is valid? Or do you think that criticism by Kant was right or wrong, whatever? If something like this is asked, then of course you can tell that yes, it was right in the context where knower and known cannot be merged. But he tends to misunderstand Descartes, because Descartes is not trying to know soul as object, and he has already mentioned that soul can be known through intuitive knowledge or intuition. But you just have to, don't, just because you have the explanation and the defense, just don't try to put defenses in all the answers. And it's not required in all the answers. Only in select answers you have to write it. Most of the answers you criticize, give few defense points or importance, and then you end it, because you don't have so much space that you can write each and everything. You will have to select and pick according to the demand of question. Okay, write it. Defense you can write your own self. पक्का? लिखवाने की जरूरत तो नहीं है? लिखवा दो? लिख लो. Note. It may be considered as a misunderstanding on the part of Kant. It may be understood as a misunderstanding on the part of Kant, as Descartes himself did not try to know soul as a table or an object. That Descartes did not try to know the soul as a table or an object through sense perception. Object and table as a sense perception. But self is known intuitively. Self is known intuitively. Second, Descartes' dictum of Navneet Rastogi, ma'am, please explain in Hindi also. It will be easy to connect and write in own language. कहाँ जाऊँ मैं? ये क्या कर रहे हो तुम लोग? मेरे ही क्लास में मेरे ही सामने बता रहे हो सब? अच्छा, बताओ यार, मतलब मेरा कोई भी डर ही नहीं है. No, some people are really notorious. So some people have starting, making videos out of our lectures. No, now we got it now. I never thought people will be so what do you say, notorious. Hmm? You know, my Instagram got hacked 2 days earlier. You people, one is telling me somebody else is opening there. One is telling me it can be easily hacked. What is it? Ethical hacker. Okay, but fine. Okay. So what is this problem? Continue with English only. बताओ क्या करूं मैं? So generally what I do, even if I speak in Hindi, I generally do translate and give a English version of it also, you know. So we can keep some of the maybe the important parts bilingual, but I generally try to put in both the languages. Ma'am, you can make privacy settings so that mal recordings cannot record voice. Acha. No, we are changing the whole system. Don't worry. We are changing the whole system. Lot of issues have been there because the LMS is not having the very good appearance, है ना? So there are no not good technical people around, I think, है ना? Though everybody is a website maker and a social media marketing expert, but nobody does a good job somehow. So there's a lot of problems in this regard. Yes, ma'am, in LMS, I know. You don't have to tell me. And I keep watching, how things are. So we are getting it improved in a, what do you say, in a week's time. In a week's time, everything will be streamlined for online people. We are trying that, LMS works very fluently, and we also have an app so that it becomes more accessible. One, एक कान वान बंद करके रखते हो क्या? वो भी सामने बैठ के मतलब unbecoming of an officer. पता है ना what is unbecoming of an officer? What is this? It's a technical ethics में आता है. It is a technical term that if you do anything which is not expected out of an officer, it is known as unbecoming of an officer, and of course there are punishments and censures done for that. Okay, fine. Continue. Website making and all these technical jargon is another level. मतलब my Instagram hacked from Russia and Ankara, Turkey और पता नहीं कहाँ से. Turkey. Typical things. Chalo. Dictum of I think therefore I am. In Descartes' dictum of I think therefore I am, nowhere it is proved that self is a substance. Self is a substance because we cannot say I think therefore I am a substance. We cannot say I think, inverted commas में लिखना है, I think therefore I am a substance. Full stop. Here Descartes has gone beyond reasoning. Here Descartes has gone beyond reasoning, that self is a substance. भाई ज्यादा से ज्यादा क्या प्रूव करता है? आई थिंक देयरफॉर आई एम क्या प्रूव करता है? दैट there is some doesn't it just prove that thinking means that there is some thinking entity? Where does it prove that it is a substance? Does it talk about any independence or dependence? Does this statement is talking about it? Is it saying that it is the fundamental unit of universe, or is it it's not talking? But Descartes has made the assumption. I think therefore I am means I exist as a thinking being. I exist as a thinking being, and this is soul. Then even after, if you accept it to be soul, you cannot say that this soul is a substance, because in this dictum nowhere it is highlighting or mentioned. There is no conclusion we can get out of this. समझ में आ रही है बात? रीजनेबल लग रही है? पढ़ लो इस वाले पॉइंट को दोबारा. Answer uploading and doubt clearing वाला window we will introduce in our app. VPN लगाया होता है. VPN क्या है? DRM ज्यादा बेहतर है. समझ में आ गया? Anybody who has any confusion regarding this statement, this criticism? पक्का? पक्का? Why? नींद आ रही है? बताओ. What is it saying? No. Why? What is the criticism? But nowhere it has been mentioned in the dictum. This is not the conclusion you make out of a simple dictum like I think therefore I am. Fine? Isn't he going beyond the reason? He is reasoning, but he goes beyond it. Fine? Okay, next. 20th century analytical philosophers like 20th century analytical philosophers like Ayer and Carnap. Ayer, अय्यर नहीं है ये. ऐसे वाले भी होते हैं, अय्यर होते हैं. मैं पर मुझे हमेशा अय्यर कहना अच्छा लगता है, लेकिन आप लोगों के लिए मैं एयर कह रही हूँ. पहले मुझे लगा कि I felt really happy that some Indian is there in contemporary Western philosophy. I researched about him, then I found no. It was a sad moment, yes. 20th century analytical philosopher like Ayer and Carnap points out the linguistic inconsistencies, as I think therefore I am is a wrong logical syntax. I think therefore I am is a wrong logical syntax, because I think does not does not mean I am or soul exists. I think does not mean I am or soul exists. Further, I am is an incomplete expression. I am is an incomplete expression which must be preceded by, which must be associated with, rather, which must be associated with a quality. Full stop. Using I am to prove existence. Using I am. ब्रैकेट में लिख लो लिंग्विस्टिक फ्रेज, कोई कंफ्यूजन ना हो आप लोगों को. लिंग्विस्टिक फ्रेज to prove existence is misuse of language. Is misuse of language. क्या हुआ है? Linguistic philosophers. These people are linguistic philosophers. These are criticizing on the basis of language and grammar. है ना? तो इंग्लिश ही गलत है भाई. डिकार्ट की फिलोसफी तो गलत है ही, लेकिन इंग्लिश ही गलत है. What are they saying? Firstly, I think does not lead to I. How can you associate them? Firstly. Secondly, whenever you are using I am, it must be associated with I am what? I am good, I am wise. What? I am what? It is incomplete. And you are trying. So these criticizers are saying to Descartes that you are trying to actually prove existence by using a incomplete phrase. This is the misuse of. It is incomplete. Complete the statement. I am what? समझ में आया? I think he should have, na? If he uses, then it's fine. But they are saying that this whole phrase, I think, therefore I am, is linguistically wrong. अंग्रेजी गलत है. Why not? वही तो वो कह रहे हैं, अंग्रेजी गलत है. वो ये कहना चाह रहे फ्रेंच भी गलत है. हाँ. 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 है. No. है. So there are some syntactical rules where you will place certain phrases and where you cannot. जैसे some later on philosophers will also be criticized when they will say is. Now some people try to, मतलब ऐसे समझो, आत्मा है. अब आत्मा है से existence prove हो जाता है क्या? If I just say soul is, does it prove any existence of soul? But some people try to prove it because through language. Isn't it? ऐसे समझो. Have you seen God? Heard, smelled, tasted, touched? Nothing? How do you believe that there is a God? That's different story. Can you understand? That still you believe in God? Why? How does it Actually, how does it actually start? How did you start believing in God? Through words. Through words. Somebody told you that भगवान होते हैं, है ना, वो हमारी सारी बातें सुनते हैं, वो हर जगह हैं, हर चीज उनकी मर्जी से होती है. All of these phrases, that there is a God and everything happens because of his own will and he is the omnipotent, omniscient, kind. So these words make you have believe in God. So similarly, words have very important power, very strong power. That is why these people are after Descartes linguistically, because while just by using his language, I think therefore I am, he's trying to prove soul, which is a metaphysical entity, isn't it? It is a metaphysical entity, and through words alone he's trying to do it. So that is why they are saying one of the criticism is that the language is not correct. He has not used the language in a proper syntaxial logical manner. According to these criticisms, I am is an incomplete phrase which should be completed with I am what? Good, bad, white, black, what? So philosophy is expressed in so this is very common to, I told you na, there will be a great transformative change in your personalities after reading philosophy. Great transformative. uh, how many of you fight at home with your parents or your siblings? Frequent fights, frequent arguments. Be frank. Be frank. Good यार, please. शर्म मत किया करो, अच्छे से हाथ उठाया करो. That will stop as you will finish philosophy, है ना? How many of you have that the feeling of revenge? एक बार सिलेक्शन हो जाए फिर बताते हो. है ना? It will end. Don't worry. How many of you feel that the anxiety of future, what will happen, what will happen, what will happen? Yeah, it will mellow down to a very tolerable level. Because you know why? It is like your adaptability is and flexibility becomes really strong. Just now, why you are not able to appreciate which are Ayer and Ayer and Carnap. I want to call him Ayer, but that's not the right pronunciation. So you are not able to appreciate Ayer and Carnap because in your mind you have accepted the theory of Descartes. Now, if these people are highlighting a small inconsistencies, you want to defend Descartes immediately. This means there is a hint of stubbornness, rigidity in thoughts, preconceived notions. And once it will be broken many times. So when you criticize Descartes, then you know Spinoza. After some time, flexibility. हाँ ठीक है चलता है ये भी ठीक है. Okay, fine. Can you understand that? Anybody having any problem? Ma'am, please tell the technical team to zoom out a little bit so that we can see the whole board. कर दिया? क्यों? वैसे मैंने बोर्ड पे ऐसा कुछ लिखा नहीं है. इस कैमरे से क्या नहीं दिख रहा बच्चों तुम्हें? ऐसा कुछ नहीं लिखा है मैंने. आयर और कार्नाफ लिखा है. आई थिंक देयरफॉर आई एम लिखा है. क्या कट रहा है? अच्छा, नथिंग, गुड एंड वाइज लिखा है यहाँ पे. आई एम गुड और वाइज. ओके, I will not write there, है ना? I will not write there till the time this thing is resolved. Extreme right not visible. Yes, adjust the camera. तो कैमरा किसने हिलाया? हाँ? नहीं नहीं, सबको दिखना चाहिए, पूरा बोर्ड दिखना चाहिए. ये कोई इंडिविजुअल थोड़े ना है, तो टेक्निकल चीज है. क्यों? नहीं नहीं, उसका फोकस ठीक नहीं है. एक्सप्लेनेशन मत दो इनएफिशिएंसीज के. बैठ जाओ. चलो नेक्स्ट. Existentialist philosophers like existentialist philosophers like Heidegger. Existentialist philosophers like Heidegger reversed the Cartesian statement and called it a tautology. It's a tautology. 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 So, existentialist philosopher Heidegger, we will read him. What is the reversed version? We will understand in his philosophy. But what he is saying? He is saying, if I think, therefore I am. This means that I think is also showing the existence only. Can we replace it? Then replacement becomes I am, therefore I am. Is there any meaning to such a phrase? I am, therefore I am. The phrases which does not give any new information, which are just the repetition, are known as tautologies. If I say, Hardeep, what is your name? क्या है ये? Tautology. इसका कोई मतलब नहीं है. No new information is getting added. समझ में आ रहा है? I am, therefore I am. If the philosophy is this, does it give any new information? Is it a philosophy you should be reading? It is not giving any new information. So Heidegger says that the whole philosophy of Descartes is a tautology. It doesn't make sense, because I think already means I am. Therefore, what is he trying to say? I think already proves the existence. Why he has to include another phrase? He could have just said I think, but he is again, just tautologically trying to extend and prove something with it. But it is a mere tautology and it has no use. सब I think therefore I am को अटैक कर रहे हैं. सिंपल. समझ में आया? नहीं आया. I think therefore I am. ठीक है. देखो, पहले तो ये मत सोचो कि बहुत जेन्युइन सा कोई क्रिटिसिज्म निकल के आएगा. अपने मन से पहले तो ये you have to remove that misconception that some really cogent, very strong criticism will come out of it, or a very strong cogent defense. So when you people do burai of your friends, do you always do it reasonably? बुराइज आर नेवर वेरी रीजनेबल, ऑफ कोर्स, है ना. सम बुराइज विल बी, सम बुराई मतलब some criticism will be reasonable, but most of the criticism is for the sake of, if I will not criticize your theory, how will I give my theory? If I don't criticize your theory, this means I accept your theory. But not always you need to do it, है ना? Because then you will have to criticize the criticisms of the criticism, है ना? You cannot go till infinity. But fallacy it will do, fallacy of ad infinitum, है ना? You cannot do such a fallacy as a student of philosophy. So we just, so when we criticize, or rather when these philosophers are criticizing, first they need to criticize, because until and unless they criticize the other philosophers, why will they give a theory, and who will listen to their theory? To establish their own theory, they must first demolish the earlier theories. This is how. So ऐसे समझो, supposedly you go in a company to ask for a job, and the person already says, no, we already have a good person here. Then you say, no, ये तो ये काम करे थे ही नहीं. What do? You criticize and find faults. That, this person is not doing this, this person is not doing this, the work is not efficient. Ma'am, I would have done this work like this. This is how the things are. So similarly, these philosophers criticize because they also have to give their own. Until and unless they will criticize, they will not be able to give their own philosophy. So definitely, all the criticisms are basis for their own philosophy. Simple. First, we understand this. Regarding this criticism, this you will understand very nicely when we do Heidegger, because Heidegger will, before Heidegger, the kind of logical analysis that will come, that will raise the mind level to understand this kind of a criticism. But for now also, when a person is saying, I think, therefore I am, this means I think is equal to I am. Can I say I am, therefore I am? But does it make any sense? It doesn't make sense to say I am, therefore I am. This means, this phrase that Descartes is trying to bring as a revolutionary idea, this is how Descartes has brought the revolution. Rather, it was a revolution at that time. Suddenly, people started thinking, oh, he proved soul. Can you imagine? Till then, people were finding faith. Till then, people were using faith to prove the existence of God and soul. But now this person comes, Descartes, and he is using scientific logical reason. And using that scientific logical reason, he proved soul, which was a very revolutionary act. And even people from science became impressed. And now there were people who had to either accept or reject. People who accepted became his followers, Descartians. But people who could not digest, कि भाई नहीं आत्मा तो नहीं होती, नहीं. So they found ways to criticize, whatever ways they could find. Someone found fault in language. This Heidegger found fault in the language plus logic. This is a logical fault, that the whatever expression Descartes is trying to put is logically not right. It's a mere tautology. It's not bringing any new information. I think itself is sufficient. But the moment you just say I think, does it bring any impact? I think, therefore I am brings the impact. Understood? Pakka, online students? Okay. Next, Nietzsche How many of you know who is Nietzsche? N-I-E, लिखो लिखो, N-I-E-T-Z-S-C-H-E, Nietzsche, Nietzsche, criticized Descartes, N-I-E-T-Z-S-C-H-E. Nietzsche criticized Descartes' pre-assumption of I. Descartes' pre-assumption of I. I should be in inverted commas. Because according to him, the appropriate conclusion is, something thinks, therefore something exists. Appropriate conclusion is something thinks, therefore something exists. अब ये बड़ा फिलोसॉफिकल सा क्रिटिसिज्म है, समझ में आ रहा है? किसको समझ आ गया? समझ में आया क्या कह रहे हैं यहाँ पे? ये कहते अभी आए तो प्रूव किया नहीं ना. Till the time you are thinking, you haven't proved your own existence. So something is thinking, therefore something must be. I कैसे है? How can it be? How can you be sure that it is I? Because I is the one thing that you are trying to find, isn't it? I is the thing you are trying to find, but you have already put I in the starting. You have already assumed I, and then you are saying I think, therefore I am. But I you have already assumed. How can you say it is I? Either put something thinks, therefore something exists. That something is named as I. तब तो बात थी. But you already put it as I. So it is like, again, हरदीप तुम्हारा नाम क्या है ना? But already Hardeep has been mentioned. Then putting the question is, same logic. Same logic. Same point. One weakness, everybody. He gave that sentence. But Nietzsche is a different. Nietzsche is a person who said God is dead. He gave the statement God is dead. Okay. So you people haven't heard about Nietzsche. नाम सुना है? Beyond Good and Evil. Yes. So Nietzsche is a very controversial kind of a philosopher and a writer. No, not it. That was, yeah, unification. That was Bismarck. Philosophically, he had that. What do you say? He gave such a lovely theories, you know. But again, you have to be really smart or wise to read his theory, because he is one person who will not who will even give you an unethical way if he finds it practical. Yes, I think, I'm not sure, but doesn't kill me makes me stronger. So it says, there is a story which goes like this, that one day, so Germany was under, so there was some, they were not independent, and there was something wrong which is going on in the country. And everybody in the university was just busy studying and talking and discussing. and he felt really furious. He felt like, what is the use of talking? Why isn't the youth actually doing something? And then he wanted to talk to other people. So this is also what he kept discussing with students and other people. So every time he used to discuss, people used to say, God will make things right. We are praying. We are trying to ask God for help. One day everything will be, the things like our family people, सब ठीक हो जाएगा बेटा, किस्मत में होगा तो सिलेक्शन हो ही जाएगा. All of these things, so they used to also say such things. So one day this Nietzsche became really furious. He went and he burned the Agape. What is Agape? Putla. So burned the model, or what do you say, Agape of a god. It was written God, and he burned it. So everybody kept asking him, what is he doing? What is he doing? What are you doing? He said, now God is dead. Now let's do something ourselves. Let's liberate our country. Let's do something for our country, because God is dead and I just. So a very famous, very, very famous line, God is dead. So these are the philosophers who will, these people open your mind to a very new level. But of course, you need time to read them. Even if you don't get time to read them, you can just read some summaries of their books. That's not a very bad idea. Okay, fine. Next. Idea of distinctness and clearness has been criticized. Idea of distinctness and clearness has been criticized by Leibniz, as it may be totally subjective. As it may be totally, idea of distinctness and clearness has been criticized by Leibniz. Leibniz की spelling लिख लोगे आप खुद? Leibniz. As it may be totally subjective. So what is clear and distinct to you may not be clear and distinct to me. Some people really feel that God is clearly and distinctly known. She just said she saw the God. Clear and distinct. But people who are atheists, for them it is not clear and distinct. So this clear and distinct is very subjective. It cannot be the criteria of truth. Okay. So let us end our class today. A very small heading is left. After that, we will start with Spinoza. Ma'am, huh? You people want test tomorrow? No? Let us complete Spinoza also. Hai na? Spinoza, and then we can have a, or maybe what you can do now. Tomorrow we will start Spinoza. Saturday and Sunday are your self-study days. Self-study days means GS plus philosophy. At least give 2 hours per day on Saturday and Sunday. Just 2 hours each day. Self-study day means revise Plato and Aristotle quickly and read Descartes from your printed notes and your class notes. Fine? Can you do that? Sometime video has stopped. In reality, Descartes has used French language, but it has been translated. That is, French language is cogito ergo sum, and it has been translated into English as I think, therefore I am. Yes. Defense we can write. We cannot say that. Actually, you know, we can write in the defense that definitely when you translate a language, and specifically such an important phrase, the meaning cannot get captured. That is why we can definitely say that the criticisms which have been directed to the English translation may not be the correct criticism. Yes, the class is over. Let's meet tomorrow.